it is Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and you have been asking for a more robust art tutorial. So here it is, What Does the Fox Say? This highly realistic, fun, painterly fox is ready for you, fully guided, everything you need to know how to do it. So I want you to grab your paint, your brushes, and come back and meet me at this easel right now. Come on, let's go. It'll be fun. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you decided to jump in and do the fox with me today. What does the fox say? I don't know. It says something. I'm sure we'll all have some opinions by the end of this painting. If you're very new, this is going to be a more challenging painting than I normally teach. But hey, I've got some tips and tricks and some aid here, and I never want anything to stop you from doing something, so go for it if it really resonates with you. For you guys that have been painting with me, for you who have been painting with me for a while, hi, how are you doing? How's it been? I love seeing all your artwork on Facebook. I love sharing it on Pinterest. I'm excited about all the new traction on the Instagram account. I love how you guys keep sharing your art stories with me and telling me what's happening in your lives. It is a privilege. Truly, I love it. Thank you. And thank you for all the well-wishing with the storming that's been going on. I am fine. I'm on a hill, so everything is okay. By the time you see this, though, it will all be over, and that will make no sense. Today, you will need a 16 by 20 canvas. I am going to be sketching in with, wow, where did I put it? I will be sketching in with some chalk or a pencil or some type of writing tool that I have completely misplaced. Editing moment was in the pocket. That is the best way to throw an artist, is just put it in the pocket or on their head. Now listen, today's thing, because we're going to be doing some really intense skills, you may have noticed that at the beginning when you saw the finished painting. This is much closer to what I do in my own studio practice. I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to get through it. You do need your canvas. You will need a pencil. I definitely suggest a snack and beverage. I've got my coffee today because it's more that kind of a painting, but it's still fun. Don't be thinking that it's not fun. You deserve to do a fox. Do you love my hat? You deserve to do a fox. You do. Paint colors today in professional grade acrylic paint, and what I have to say on that is buy the best paint from a nationally known company that you can afford. The better the quality of paint, the easier it is to get the results. That's just how it works with paint companies. It's how they get us. All right. Phthalo blue green shade, yellow ochre, also known sometimes as yellow oxide, dioxazine purple, burnt sienna, Mars black, cadmium yellow medium. Hue is a great way to save money, but there is a difference between cadmium yellow and the hue. Cadmium red medium, and again in hue, if you're watching your budget, titanium white. Now, I'm going to sketch this in very well. Now I'm going to take a little picture of it, and then through the internet magics, my fantastic artist, in-house artist, Chuck Carson, will turn that, as he does to all of our stuff and our shareables and materials list, he'll turn that into a traceable. So if you're not a drawer, don't let that stop you. Not even a little bit. That's not the purpose of this. This purpose is of learning painting skills, not drawing skills. There's great channels for drawing skills, and you can work on those at any time. This will be something that you can get off of, and I declare it to be Pinterest. And you can grab that off of Pinterest and print it out on your printer and trace it and just do it on an 8 by 10 canvas. And you'll still have the fox and you'll still have the experience. Don't let drawing be the obstacle to your right to be artistic, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is about the center of the canvas. I'm going to make a little mark here. I'm going to come over and I'm going to arc a little line to the top of the head. Now foxes have bigger ears, so I'm going to make 2 arcs. And you're like, oh my gosh, you're going faster than usual. Yep, this is the more advanced class. But don't worry, I am with you every step of the way. And I want to bring an ear down and an ear down. Now, an interesting thing on a fox is the fur pattern will come out in this sort of mushrooming shape right there, okay? Because that's where their fur goes. I'm going to say right here, just above the end of my fur line, I'm going to make a little mark. It's going to be where eyes are going to be. And I'm going to come down to make the narrower fox's nose. The difference between doing a fox and a wolf is in the muzzle and a little bit in the fur. But a lot of it is in that muzzle shape. The fox has a more narrow, delicate muzzle, probably based on how they hunt. So I'm going to come up here, round it out. This will remind you, we just had that on the episode of Kilroy. Kilroy was here. This is a little bit, Kilroy was here, but hey, it works. And just take this down here, and you're like, that's crazy, but it's what you do. And I'm going to come and bring out the eye. Now I am going to really, because what I am sort of known for is my ability to hit eyes. I'm going to really show you on an up-close cam how that's done. Now, this little part of the eye will go out here, and I'm going to just sketch in what would be the fur coming off here. And you're kind of already seeing, and I'm just telling myself some general things that I need to know. Now, right here in this sort of muzzle space, all right, I've got my muzzle space, I'm going to put the nose. Okay, and the nose has some foreshortening. It's got a little top, and then it comes down like this. It's a little rounder than some of the other stuff, certainly rounder than the cat. And then the muzzle is foreshortened as well. Goes up like that. And I'm actually going to take some of this chin out. And see, that's the thing when we're really painting and we're really sketching. By the way, tip, watercolor pencils, learned that from YouTube. I'm using this graphite, but the graphite could get in my paint on a lighter painting. You can use watercolor pencils, and I'm going to shorten this muzzle quite a lot because foxes have a shorter muzzle. And then I'm going to say his ruff comes like that. And then there'll be a little back kind of space here. So I know in this space, I will be talking about a fox. And in other space, I will be, let's sketch this out. They tend to have a darker space here, and then the ruff comes here. Now, bear with me. I'm going to get this picture for Chuck, so Chuck can make a very clean, traceable, digital, scalable line drawing for you. And then all you would do with that is print that out on your home printer and get an 8x10 canvas, and either scribbling some chalk all over the back, taping it on and tracing it, as we've done in other videos. And listen, there's a lot of tutorials on how to do transfers. And also there's carbon paper, which doesn't work so well once the painting is painted with an underpainting, but while it's just this raw gesso canvas, works fantastic. Let's get the picture. I think that's exciting. So we'll get this picture, and then Chuck will help us out, because that's what Chuck does for Heart Party, which is pretty exciting, and I really appreciate the step-by-steps. So that's something to think about, guys, which is that I am not a digital artist. That's not my field. I am not an expert in that. I have some digital skills, but certainly not like some of the amazing digital artists have. But I don't stress about it. It is okay to not be all things in art. My point being, it is okay to not be good at drawing and still be very competent at painting. There are many dimensions and levels of art skills, and do not allow a narrow definition to limit your right to be creative, because you're just sort of entitled to your creative time. Okay, acrylic brushes, assorted acrylic brushes. I will be using, you know, my usual 1-inch filberts, 1-inch brights, 1/2-inch filberts, 1/2-inch brights, and probably some sort of detail brush. So I'm going to start out, I think, in this space to paint in the background. I'm going to get a 1-inch filbert. Filbert, I don't know if it's going to focus on it. It is not. There it is. So there you go. I'm going to get my brush wet. Acrylic paint needs wet. It needs water, right? I'm going to take a little of my Dog's Name Purple over to my burnt sienna. You've done this background with me before in other spaces. If you have, you're used to it. It is a nice classic way of getting a really nice dramatic dark background. And that's what we're going to do, right? Well, you know I'm gonna get my brush and my coffee, right? So here's the deal. This type of painting, the central figure is lit dramatically and the rest of the background is very dark. Oh, we're gonna do something we never do. We're gonna take a call from Ginger, my mom. Hey, I'm filming right now on my YouTube show. Say hi to everybody, Mom.
Hey, hi everybody.
We're doing a fox.
Oh my gosh, that's so fantastic. Good for you. I'm so glad you're filming. Well, I've spent the last 3 hours trying to get the green focus lines off my camera.
Oh, okay. Well, can I call you as soon as I'm done? Because I got to teach them how to do this fox.
Teach you how to do the box.
Okay.
Great job. Bye.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Love you too.
See, I told you we talk all the time. I thought you might get a kick out of that. Be like, be with me when my mom calls the studio, because we do. Right now she's going through some technical stuff. She's been trying to do some live broadcasts, but her particular type of camera, which specializes in the overhead with the hands painting, is giving her some grief. So she's been trying to work that out. Almost. And I know she's just been working really, really, really hard on that. She's going to get that worked out for you guys. All right, so you're just going to paint out everything that is not fox with this fabulous background color. We're really not going to do a lot more in the background than this. All right, so we've got this central figure in this very dark background that's lit very dramatically. All right, and that is a very particular type of painting. I like that very much, actually, personally. Sometimes in my own painting practices, I like to get a little dramatic in my paintings. I do. I tend to want to do that. It's fun. That's why I do it. It's fun. So just paint this in confidently. And what do I mean by that, paint this in confidently? Well, when you've been painting for a while, you sort of get the sense of a certain amount of paint just has to go on this canvas before anything else can happen. And that is really, really true. A certain amount of paint. And see, I'm kind of respecting the fox shape, but I know I want fur to come over this in this space, so I'm going to let this be here. Now, if you hate purple just so much that you just don't know what you're going to do because you want to do this painting with purple, you can do this exact same background with burnt sienna and phthalo blue. You know, make it your own. There's no grade, there's no pass-fail, there's just a painting journey, and you're on it, and no one's going to judge you for what you do. So I'm going to rinse my brush out real well. Wipe it off on my paper towel. And get my, it's about a 1/2 inch bright, and I'm going to start blocking in what I feel is going on with my fox. What we're going to do, and I'm going to warn you right now, because you're going to have a panic attack, is going to be messy. It's going to be a hot mess. When people watch me paint live, if they come at a certain time, they think I'm having some type of episode. And I don't necessarily wear these hats and aprons out, so there's no real explanation for what a painting looks like, what it does. But there's a stage, you've heard other art teachers on YouTube talk about it, there's a stage in painting where things do not look as nice as say they might look. So I'm going to grab a little of my brown and my blue, and I'm going to make quite a dark color. And in my ears, right here, I'm going to put this very, very dark color. I'm going to start blocking out the values of my fox. One of my very favorite painters, who is a daily painter, she talks about that, and I think this is so accurate, she's an oil painter, that it's not really the colors you paint with, but often the tonality that you paint with, the darks and lights. And that is very, very, very true. Right? It is not it's not often those things, but it is the darks and lights that we put in. And you have to get this sort of mapped out on your painting. So I've got this dark right here. Okay. Now I'm going to get a little of my yellow ochre. So I want to create a slightly lighter space. I'm going to come to the outside of my ear and I'm going to come back and I'm going to put in a slightly lighter tone here. And then mix these up. I come right here. I need a lighter tone right here. This space will be lighter. And we'll define that more particularly as we go. This is, again, I'm not kidding, we're really painting today. And you're saying, wait, are we not really painting every day? We are, but what I do in the designs a lot of times so that you guys can have a great start, because you got to get so many paintings under your belt to take on challenges sometimes, is to make sure that the processes are simple enough that you can get it done. So I got some yellow ochre and I got some burnt sienna. I'm going to come here and I'm going to just remind myself that there's some lighter value outside this ear edge here. Now, you can come here, add a little yellow, creating some different values and tones. Grab some of this where I got the phthalo blue mix, and this is really how I paint. We talk a lot about how do you really paint when you're painting. This is really how I paint. I will grab what is next to it when I'm laying these things in. It is crazy when you say it. And you'll be like, I'll never be able to do that. Yeah, you will. This literally is about just knowing that certain tasks need to get done for anything to work out. This is a lot like baking. Think about it. Dough, before you bake it, you wouldn't want to eat it. Might smell nice, but it looks really good. Right? But by the time you finish your whole cooking process, it can be quite lovely. Bring a little yellow here. A little white. You just never know. Come back and because I want this to be a lighter value, but not the full lightness of the value, because I will be coming back when I'm making the fur. Here. I'll be working that fur out. Fur is really, again, like smoke, like glass, like a lot of things, very challenging to people, but yet is not challenging as an actual thing to paint once you understand what you're doing with the fur, what you're not painting. Sometimes people think that they're painting every hair, and they get very stressed and challenged by that, but that is not what you're painting. I'm going to come over here, and I think I'll mix a little purple into my brown. Maybe I'll grab a little blue. You're always searching for tone, for a value, for a color, for an effect. Always. I'm going to come under here, and I'm going to put in a little triangle of dark right here. It's going to fall down here a little bit. Up over. Up over. I'll have to come back and add some light and some things, but right now I'm literally sketching with paint. Literally. Sketching with paint. That's all we're doing. And the reason I'm not even worried, and the only reason you believe this is going to be anything, is that you see the end result at the beginning of the lesson. So you go, oh my gosh, I know it'll turn into this thing that I saw at the beginning, that I saw on Facebook, that I saw on Pinterest. I was super excited to paint, that I really want to know how to paint. But it's really hard right now to believe. I'll put this in dark here, this color. So I've got this sort of blue into my brown. One of the things that I will do is I will very rarely use black. in my actual painting. Very rarely will I use actual black. A lot of artists like to mix black and yellow to make their greens. I'm going to come here and paint this in all very dark here. But the thing is the reason that my paintings have the vibrant color and luminosity that they do is that I tend to avoid doing that. Alright? Now I'm explaining a little less to you than I generally do, and that is because we're doing a more advanced painting. See, I'm just coming in and I'm just laying it in. Now I'm going to get a little more of my red. Well, it's my burnt sienna, and I'm going to bring this in here. I'm going to come up between the eyes with this darker hue. Value. Come right up here. I think I want a little more blue in that. So you see how I'm darkening my brown instead of with the black, which I could totally do with the blue. When you see these paintings live, when they're done in this method, they are not what's called grayed out. They have just a more fresh appeal to them, I think. It's a personal opinion that I have that I don't expect anyone else to have. So I went and grabbed all those little colors and I'm mixing, and I get a little white because I know this is going to be much lighter. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to kind of block this in. Now, this is going to be quite light when it's done, as will the muzzle. Again, I'm just trying to put in some paint. I'm just trying to talk about where my fields of value are. I'm going to come out here and see. I'm going to start now. One of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the brush on its edge and I'm going to work it really light into here. Putting in the groundwork for what will later be fur. And if I paint something in incorrectly, guess what I get to do? Just paint it out later. You can always paint it out later. Don't get crazy. Alright? Don't get crazy. Put a little light down there. Light down here. And it's amazing how quickly just blocking him in starts to pull him in together. I'm going to get some white. I'm going to use this to make a gray. Or when you need it. You may need to change water fairly often with this piece. Don't worry that you do. Don't worry that you do. Okay, coming in here, grabbing some water. Now I'm thinking I actually did not paint my purple in deeply enough. I'm going to, see, a lot of times as you're blocking it in as well, you'll see something. You'll be like, wait, what's happening? Well, what's happening is your art brain is making adjustments. You guys are ready for this. Once you have your mapping, you can make some very brave decisions, and I want you guys to be brave. You know, we've got devotion. We have other paintings if we're just, needing a relaxing day. I'm going to come back and put some of that purple and brown right there. See how I adjust that, and you can just do that. I'm going to show you another tip. Like, I can't just back up right now, as I might normally when painting, to evaluate my my painting. You know the art cha-cha where artists go back and they think and then they come forward and they think. What that is that they're trying to get a better observational perspective of their artwork. to see it more clearly. So when you can't do that, one of the best things that you'll be able to do is take a picture with your cell phone. We're going to do that when we get this all blocked in. I'm going to grab this one back up again. Come on, get a little brown, a little purple, and a little blue. A little more blue. I'm going to put this right back here because he's a little, this is going to be darker back here. Much darker. I want that to be darker than what I'm painting it right now. And this is again about just blocking in the values. Look how not stressed about this I am. And that comes from experience, right? It comes from just trusting that I'm going to do it. I'm just keeping sort of directionality with the brush strokes, and I'm working these things out. I'm going to come here, the blue, and make quite a dark color. And I'm going to do in my eyes. You will be working this out in the eye area so much more than you expect. But you're going to understand some things about all eyes in general after you're done. Now, just don't make it about you. Don't make it about your talent. Don't be like, oh, I'm not talented enough. I just don't understand it. I'm flawed. Here, I'm taking this blue off the edge to sort of define this little fox eye thing here that they have. See, I'm always just sort of looking for those adjustments. And again, you guys have been saying, we're ready for this more advanced lesson. We're ready. I say, all right. What does the fox say? Some stuff, that's what the fox says. Got a little shadow right there. Just again, adjusting. Now, be a smart cookie. Grab your phone. Okay. Take a picture of your piece. That's what you want. I'm so bad at this. Everybody come back here. Take a picture of your piece. And then look at it. And what you're going to do is you're going to evaluate, are things uneven? Have you gotten lopsided? What if you don't have camera phones to look at? You can turn your picture upside down, or you can go look in a mirror. But what you want to do is you want to evaluate what you got and how it's looking as you're going. Okay, that's an important thing. Look and evaluate. And while looking and evaluating, I'm going to come here. I'm going to add this right here to just talk about this more accurately. I'm going to do the same over here. You're just looking for what is not working. And now I know. All right, so I made a little adjustment, and that's what you're looking for. You're trying to make adjustments, make it look and see what you've got going on. Now, let's put in some ears. And you can come in and you can do a second working on your background to give it some more depth. And honestly, as thin as it's looking, I'm kind of inclined to do that because I want us to have a great looking painting. So come back with your bigger brush. Purple, a little brown. If you need to, grab a little blue. And come back and give it another layer. All right, come back and where it needs it, give it another layer. This is a very baroque piece, and I'm going to talk a little bit on art education today. So there's nothing wrong with not having an art education at all. You can develop all these skills and learn all these things. This information is available out on the web. It's out everywhere. The one thing I will say that is very fun, if you can even take an art history course, is there is nothing like art history to tell the story of the world and these language skills that we're learning here. Because you're learning art skills, but in another sense you're learning language skills. You're learning how to very accurately convey an emotional state somebody might be going through. Right? So this fox is more than a fox. There's a little thing I like to say, which is all art is a self-portrait of the artist. And that is, I don't care what level you're painting from, I don't care how you're painting from, I could always tell what was going on in a person's life looking at their paintings. I had a real sense of what was happening and how they were feeling when I would look at another person's paintings that I was teaching. Doesn't mean I would get all of them in biz, but I would just definitely be aware that they were experiencing some stuff. So I think that second, layer is nice. I might come and get a little white and a little brown into it. Come around the fox just a little bit with this to break it up. I don't want it to be too monochromatic. I don't want it to feel painterly. This is just what I would do when I'm painting the studio. And I'm not skipping any steps. I'm just showing you what I would do when I'm working, so that you know how all those paintings on Pinterest that you guys are so fascinated by get made. I'm switching out water now. I think it's a good time to switch out water. Saving my titanium white because I'm sure I'll need more. Put this to the side because I got this out. You should not do what I do and big brushes in water. It's terrible for them. But I gotta do what I gotta do when I'm painting here with you. So now we're gonna start putting in our fox. And I think I'm gonna use one of my favorite brushes, which is the 1/2 inch angle brush. Grab a little water. And I'm gonna come and take a little of this yellow and a little of the burnt sienna. I'd even grab a little cat red, which may be getting a little tacky by now because we're in hot lights. And I'm going to come and start working my ear very lightly with a very light brush. I'm going to come to this outer edge of the ear and I'm going to push, push, push. Just push, push, push. Trying to imply sort of outer edge. And then interiorly, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to come here. Add a little bit of this here. I feel like it could be darker inside the ear. I feel like we could go even darker. I'm going to come up all the way kind of up to the tip. Start adding that dark value in. Start adding that dark value in. Feel free to print out a color copy of the finished painting, okay, to have something to work from. It is always going to come over here and add the deep value in right now, too. I just like that deeper value, needs it, okay? Those of you who are like, oh my god, the inside of a fox's ear is not blue, wait, you'll see. Rinsing it out, bringing it over, and come back over into our sienna, ochre. Get a little of the red if you need it. Let's come in. Now I'm going to use the edge of the brush. I'm going to be like working out this little fluffy bit that I see here. It's coming out. Working out this. I'm going to come around this edge a little bit, lighten it here. Apply a highlight. I want to come on the inside. And interestingly enough, what I see on both ears, though, let me go into my blue, It's right here, another little darker space. Bring it in. Darker space right there happening. And then the ear, top bone of the ear, is there. And this is what I'm doing. I'm constantly like just looking for my values, looking for my shades. I'm gonna come up here with the lighter one. I'm just refining that story. Here, softening this edge here, and just pulling it in. Okay? Just simple. Look for values, look for edges. Just find your color, find your tone. I'm gonna come up here and define that too as well. So sometimes you'll see something, work the other side, you're just looking for it. We're gonna end up with a pretty nice painting today, which is sort of exciting. Sort of a ridiculous half painting we're gonna be doing, but I love foxes. Love them. My daughter, when the song "What Does the Fox Say" came out, comes to me and actually goes through the song and she explains to me what all the different sounds meant. She looked up what all those different fox calls meant. Like when she was, just a couple of years ago, she was just really into it. It was her favorite thing. Alright. So I worked that little paint there. Now I'm going to rinse this out a little bit. I'm going to come back and I'm going to get back into this numminess over here. And that's what you need to start thinking about, is these nummy colors. And that you're just trying to get into these nummy colors. Right? Soften this edge here. Now we're going to have some very nice hair highlights that will come up there. Right? We're going to have that. We're going to have some hairs that come up in through the shadow. But right now, we're just trying to say that this little guy has some fuzzy little ears for which things are happening. Believe it or not, we're still in the underpainting stage. This stuff just takes a while. I'm going to grab some of this. I'm going to come here because I know that there's some, and I'm going to come to the edge, pull up a little bit of fur. So a lot of times artists want to grab specialty brushes for every stroke, but pretty much any brush will do anything. Just, you just got to work it. I'm going to define this center down his lovely little face. I really, again, want to thank Paint My Photo. I went and looked at a ton of Fox references that they had and did some sketches and came up with a design that I liked. The important thing I'll say when you're looking at reference photos is that look for lighting. Look for good lighting. Who's got good lighting? So you can adjust a pose. If two poses are very close, which is what I had, and you wanted one a different angle pose, maybe a different body position, but you want a certain lighting, you can actually use all of those pieces to triangulate a finished look. It's sort of interesting. So that's how I do these. I just look at a lot of pieces. Alright. So I'm going to come right up the center here with some purple and brown. I'm going to say right up the center like that. I'm also going to come over here, get this, looking for that color again. I'm going to say that there's a little deepness in the fur that's happening right here. I'm going to add a little deepness in the fur that's happening right here. And that's what you need to do. You need to do a little deepness in the fur. So that's what you're trying to talk about. Now I'm going to come around the eyes here. I'm going to add some real depth here. I'll have to come back and add some highlights. Well, I'll have to come back and add some highlights. That's no problem, we don't mind. I've got a little painting horde going on. Right now I may have to put this up on Etsy. It's just hard to keep all the paintings of like out of wall space. It's good to solve, but you know, these are a little different. This is more in keeping with what I do. You guys like watch my stuff, you'll know this is more like work that I like to do. I'm going to come here and I'm going to just almost blends into the background what's happening here, right? I may even come with this dark color up into the ear a little bit and deepen this. So that's what I'm always looking for is where do I need a darker tone? Where is it not enough? Where is it not enough? I'm almost faded out on this ear because he's in such deep lighting, right? Isn't that crazy? You wouldn't think to do that, but that's what you do. And you're like, oh, this is how you get those crazy blown out brushes. Yup. This is how it happens. This is how it happens. If you're sitting and painting, please stand up, move around, put on some jams, and do the 10. Please do. If you're sitting and painting, I'm standing, but even I need to do a wiggle. Every once in a while, it's a very important part when I was very young and in art college. That was an important thing that we would do when we were working on long, involved projects. Because the music would be on. If we were going to be just sketching a still life for hours, you gotta move. It's good for you. It's good for your brain. It's good for your body. You know, it's actually sort of important health-wise that when you're painting that you do keep moving. So, you know, put on What Does the Fox Say? Give it a little dance while you're putting in these big fields of paint. Let it go. Let go whatever's bugging you in your life. I got some stuff going on in my life. I'm like you. Stuff happens to me. It bugs me, stresses me out. You know, I have to deal with pettiness or smallness or things that make me unhappy or storms. I'm married. I'm just one of the nicest people in the world, but it's still marriage. You know, that always comes with its own challenges. We've been married 17 years. But yeah, I think that's correct. 17 years. I'm actually one of those wives, like I never know when my anniversary is and I always forget. My husband forgets. And you know how we know when our anniversary is? My mother-in-law and my father-in-law and his wife send us happy anniversary cards. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's our anniversary. We should go eat or something. You know, we're, big ones, so. Might be 18. We got married in 1997, so. That's what happened there. So we're gonna just keep working that. I'm gonna come in with a little brown and just do a light dusting of what would feel like hair. And put more birds in out. I've got a lot of it. This is a painting you want to do with a more professional grade of paint. It asks of your tools quite a lot. So I'm just putting that right there, that sort of painterly dusting of how I get this, and this is just a big thing for when you're, when you're ready for this. At this point, hopefully, you've learned how to control the pressure of your brush. How hard are you putting pressure on the brush? And so you'll notice I'm not grabbing water, not thinning it for this. And I'm just dusting lightly. Just dusting lightly. I'm gonna break, I see some patterns here. Break them up. It's important to do, otherwise your eye will get caught, get stuck. You don't want a stuck eye. Don't have a stuck eye. Don't do it. Not nice. So we're just pulling that in and just pulling it out. So that's nice. Just some of the paint is wet underneath it, and then it skips across the top, and it creates that feeling. And then you see the directionality of what I'm doing here is very important. So I'm going to grab some burnt sienna. I have a tube of Liquitex, and as always, what do I love about these? On Liquitex, what I really love is the easy open caps. I do. I really, really love the easy open caps. Make me super happy. Paint that out. Now let's start working in this space. So I feel like a little of this and a little of this. It's in order. I'm going to come here and I'm going to sort of work this. I feel like that needs to be darker. Add some blue to it. Gray it out. Just come in and use this brush, work this brush. You could do this with a square. I just know a lot of you at this point, because you made with me, have these angle brushes. I like to use it because it is a lot of brushes in one. It's like the sticky. If I was like a fast-talking infomercial salesman, I'd be telling you, this brush is like a square, this brush is like a blender, this brush is like a detail. You know, I'm on the edge here, and I'm making these sort of fast lines. I see that I need a little water in here. We didn't do an acrylic color ground, which we could have done, but it would have been very difficult for you to see me sketching the fox, and I don't have to have it to do what I'm doing. I'm going to define this around him. I find sometimes if you're very good at makeup, eye areas are then sometimes easier. I'll put a little dust of color right there. This is the top of his eye. Right here. Some of this light right here. And then just bring this out here. I'm going to keep layering this. Fur is not always about detail work. A lot of times fur is about the layers. Even in digital art. And listen, do not discount those amazing digital artists. They have some tremendous skills and they understand painting. They just happen to have a tool that doesn't leave a mess. So watch their tutorials. Don't just search like acrylic. Search like a really good digital artist and see what they've got in their tutorials. Right? So many kids looking to be animators, looking to do, you know, illustrations for books and comics and things like that, and they have to really work it out, and they're very inventive, and they do tutorials for each other because they're minded that way. Don't miss out on that awesomeness. I don't. I respect ability. I try not to get too wrapped up in, is it, you know, my kind of medium, my kind of experience. So I was at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and I ran into this lovely mom whose daughter had just sort of taught herself to paint, was doing Bob Ross, which I'd have to say I thought was pretty darn cool. It's really fun to just run into people. If you're in Humble, you may just run into me at the Michael's or the lobby where you hobby. All right, let's come in here with this and start adding to this fluff. His face really needs to be fluffy. Okay, so I'm coming up here. I come in with some more of this light color right around here. Coming up, coming up, coming up. Coming up, coming up. And again, print this out. Print it out. Print it out and look at it. Look at where I made decisions. They will help you. You'll be able to recognize, she layered it that way. So I'm already sort of seeing, like, I've got this, I've got to end this here, right here. I'm just trying to respect that. Trying to respect that. I'm looking at my stuff, my sketches, my pictures, just to see where I've been. Right. There's some great wolves on Paint My Photos. Some really good natural photographers there. Give you some great reference photos, some good eye reference photos. If you need to practice eyes, it's a great place to go and get those. Come in the center here with this. And I can see a little ridge right here along where I put that dark ridge that could use this lighter color. See how I'm going? I'm just doing this right here, adding this lighter color, and his face is starting to take some shape. Now one of the things I gotta come out here, I'm gonna sketch in with some light stuff because I feel like what I've gotta have off this ear is a shape like this. And it's not happening for me, so I gotta make sure. Sometimes I'll do this, I'll come back with like a very light color of paint and be like, am I tracking the shape that I really want to have? Because I'll just paint right over it and this will blend into what's happening and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I got that. See, like right, I come in and like blend it out like it didn't even happen. Ha ha ha, you didn't even know that you could do that. All right, I'm gonna come between the eye and this. I think that's another place. I've got some just come in here. Come in here. A little blue, a little red. I'm just trying to get that little darker value happening there that I need to have happening there. Alright, working the face now. It's just about him, I'm just looking. So I'm coming here under the eye, putting this darker color. And again, like I said, this is not like our tutorials that we normally do. We're doing this painting. You're ready for painting, you're ready to up that game. We gotcha. I'm seeing a dark value here I gotta put in. So like as you're looking, you'll be like, oh, I need this dark value. I've got to work in there. Coming in and darkening that. And wiggle, 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 wiggle. Don't forget the wiggle. Don't forget it. You need it. So we just want to make sure that we've got some layers here that are happening. I'm going to come. I haven't even rinsed my brush. White, mix it into that. A little blue. Too much blue. It's okay, never stress out about it. Just there we go. And I'm going to come with a little rough here. So I know from here up I've got a little spot. You know, pull some pictures off the internet of foxes. Just search fox face. You're going to get a real sense of the things that make their little faces foxy. Alright. Now I'm going to come here. Some fur happening there. I'm going to work this down here more. gonna get some of this and work down this down here more. Work that down there more. And so a lot of my trick on how I make this feel like hair is the lightness of the pressure. Now I'm going to come in with a darker value under the chin again. Even darker than that. Just all around the muzzle here, darkening it up. And give a look at him. How is he doing? How is he doing? I have to tell you, most of when a painting comes together is often in the last little bit. That's when it will all come together and look amazing. Last little bit. Didn't rinse my brush, went and got some just brown. I'm picking up some other colors, so it's not just brown. A little white, there we go. Come in here and I'm going to add some another level of color to the center here. And I'm just doing these little random dashes because I'm still trying to say that there's fur. And a lot of fur is about breaking up patterns and layering highlights and deep colors. That is a lot of fur, guys. Scrumble where you need to scrumble. Scrumble in the bubble. Come here, get some of this going. And just work it. You're just looking for it. Look at the picture you printed out. Pull up a picture of the finished box and just really look at it. Look, photographs of foxes and really look at those. See if you can pick out information that you need to complete your painting. Right? See if you can. See if you can find the little bits of data. Put on these little highlights right here. Come here and add some highlighted bits of stuff out here. Definitely going to think about what's happening right there. And it's just foxing out. And this is sort of foxing in winter, right? So I'm going to come and I'm going to get some white light color from the ochre, the blue, and the white that I have. And come up here. I think what I should do with this, and I don't know if I should, but I think what I should do with this, here we go, we're coming along here, we're just telling some story. A little bit there, dusting up. Is that there should be a time lapse of this. It needs to be a little longer. Time lapse of this so that you guys can see it before you jump into it, because it's an involved project. It is an involved project. Dusting the little edge of this ear here. Oh, I see a little highlight. Very light pressure when I see little highlights and things that I want to accentuate, think about, you know. I'm glad you guys are interested in some lessons that are a little more involved. Isn't that nice? This is starting to look furry. Starting to be furry. Now, you'll notice that up close camera, when the up close camera is going to really come into play, guys, is when I'm in here in the eyes. That's when we're going to really, 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 really see it. As we should. Come up and need some this up here, and I'll come back under. So I'm going to continue to add some of this just on the feather hair of my brush. That's how I get these fine lines. You're like, how do you do that? My brush doesn't do that. I just kiss the canvas. Do you remember Bob saying, so, well, I'm not going to say it because it's a little, but you know, you had to be very fond and affectionate to the canvas. Yeah, you do. You really do. You gotta just love what you're doing and be willing to let that be your direction. The idea of art education is wonderful, like we should all be educated in art. The idea that some, that exhibit talent in a way that's easy to understand or allowed to participate in it, I find very frustrating because vision and creativity is not so easily defined. When is it talent? And there's some ochre I'm putting back in through here. I may come back with I'm gonna dust this a little bit, lighter color, dust that a little bit. And we're just trying to talk about these things. And then I feel there's a little bit of this lightness right here. Definitely some right here. I'm talking about definitely some right here. Talking about, I'm coming here and talking about it. So I'm going to come and get some of that. Just have a little conversation out this side and out this side and a little bit in the center. Let's do the center first. We're going to add some of these little highlights. Define little highlights here and there. Definitely the spots over the eyes are critical, guys. Those have to be, that has to be highlighted on your fox. That's not optional. If you want it to feel foxy. I'm going to add just a dusting of this through the hair. I'm going to come back with like, some burnt sienna and some things, but it's just important to, chuck. So it's crazy having like the phone here while I'm working because I know that I've got to look at it. Get this, get a little of this there, and I'm going to come in and work this little hair space out here, okay? I'm paying attention to the directionality of things. I'm working the edge of the brush. I'm a very light pressure. Very light pressure. Okay, and it's very light. Very light pressure. I'm back for some more ochre, and I'm just dusting. I'm not really painting every hair. I am painting enough of these lines to make it feel like you're starting to see every hair. I love doing things that let your mind and eye do the rest of the work. I am perfectly capable, maybe I'll show you sometime, of doing some crazy hyperrealism where you're like, is that egg real? Yes, do that. Kind of got that when I was young. If you're kids, if you're young, if you're like 18 and under, by the way, it is normal to want to produce high realism. That is exactly what your brain should want to do. You may later in your artistic path choose to do some different things, absolutely, but it is very normal to want to do that at a certain age. You see how that's going? We're just working that out. And we're not adding a lot of water. We're not conserving paint. We're getting color when we need it, and we may have to put out paint. And this is one where you may need to put out smaller amounts of paint so you're not wasting paint when you're working. Okay? Because it dries out so quickly. You could also use palette wetting spray. It's a very, very good tool. Come over here, have it rinse my brush. You're like, that's crazy. Nah, it's not. I'm gonna come here, and I know that under my eye, I'm gonna be dealing with some lighter colors. So I'm looking at it. And there's a little bit above my eye. And I'll have to come back with the dark right there later. I'm gonna come here and apply that right there. And so there's some right here, and maybe there's some happening right here. Just get what you gotta get. Sometimes you gotta put dark back in, sometimes you gotta put light back in. And just deal with what you gotta do. Deal with what you gotta do to get the values that you gotta get. Light, everything. I am still leaving this dark, but I'm lightening it up and playing with my tones and values, as I know I need to. This is going to be a lot about layers. When it's a lot about layers, be prepared to bunker down. You'll be here for a minute. Because again, a lot of artists won't show you their full court press because they don't want to teach people how to beat them in an art show, I think is what it is, or how to do their thing, and those people can sell the thing. But I know something they don't know. That there is a magic secret sauce that each artist brings to a painting, and you can't steal it, you can't duplicate it, you can't, well, I guess forgers can, they can do it, but the rest of them, Look, I'm getting purple and blue. No one else can take your place. I know a lot of you are going through experiences where you feel replaced lately in your lives. But that is, no one can replace you. You are invaluable. There may be other good things happening in the world, but you are it for you. You need to embrace yourself. Now I gotta get a little moisture because I feel my brush is really working. And see, that's just what you're doing. You're like, oh, I need a little bit. I'm working too hard. Come here and I'm gonna add this little darkness right here. This is really actually quite fun for me to do. It's like a puzzle I'm solving. We'll do a time lapse where we'll be like talking to the entire time lapse, but no one will hear me too. I think we should take like this camera and time lapse it. So you can see what you're working so hard for when you decide to hop in. What are you working for here? What I'm trying to do right now is just make sure where a shadow is, and I'm adjusting it. And that is just what you have to do. You have to adjust as you're painting. Be prepared to do that. Be prepared to do it. Be prepared to make adjustments. Now I'm going to get a little of my yellow ochre. White again. Maybe a little more. There we go. Crazy color we're working at, but we were working at it. It's our color. And I'm going to start working the top of my nose here. Okay, I'm just brushing. There is a fur directionality that I am trying to respect when I'm telling the story of the nose. And so I'm trying to observe that, knowing that, and make sure there's some implied brush strokes that Acknowledge that that's going on. Right? I'm trying to do. So come up to center here. And then I'm going to get some white. Here about the nose, I'm going to add some of that. Maybe some light right here. Some right here. Just trying to work that shadow and balance that out. Around here. Come here. I'm going to make a little highlight right underneath, but I'm going to leave some of that shadow. I'm going to come in with this light color. I'm going to work right here. Try to very lightly brush in that marking, and I'm going to come here and lightly brush in. See, I'm just doing the hair. Just brush it in. Using the side and switching it to the hair, using the side and switching it to the hair. A lot of brushes will do this, but that's how I get it done. And I don't want to do this as like a magic trick where you just watch it and you don't try. I want you to try it. I want you to be brave. I want you to try it. I'm going to put some of these here because he's got some stuff happening here, okay? Just put some right here under his eyes. Alright, we're going to take some of this light color around the other side. We're going to work some of that in. Okay, we're working it. Come around. Between these two dark marks, I see this sort of patch of lighter fur he's got. And then I'm going to work his outer ruff. Do not be afraid. It's just techniques. It's just brush strokes. Always practice it. A good place to practice fur brush strokes is on a black piece of paper because you can really see how you're getting it. You can really see it. You can really see it. You want to really see it. Come around here. Sort of break that up. And there's a little bit of this happening up here, right under the eye right here. Got a highlight. I just want to up the highlight under here. Take one out here. And let's work the upper with some of this just right here. Okay? Work the upper with just some of this, just right here, coming down. And you'll notice I'll be looking for comfortable positions and I'll be adjusting myself, and I want you to look for comfortable positions and adjust yourself. And if you gotta get up and dance and do some stuff. I see some light areas I want to work on up here. If you see areas where you feel like, oh, I need some lightness, I need some of this up there, do it. Trust yourself. Do not be afraid. All dried paint can be painted out, and so therefore you can't have a moment that's so tragic that you just can't recover from it. Right? And I'm going to add even a little bit of that, just a touch of this right here to these little spots on him, and maybe a little bit right here. I'm going to come back with some burnt sienna and some cat red and do some really extraordinary stuff there, but right now I just got to get this in. So I'm just working this, working this, working this. Little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit. Okay. Pretty fun, pretty nice. Do something shocking. I'm going to take all my burnt sienna, all my cad red, which may be drying out a bit. Pull it out. A little bit of my cad yellow. Come over here. Make this sort of interesting orange color. And I'm going to work some of this into my upper fur. Just a little bit. Should be like a strawberry blonde up in it. I love it. I'm just working it in. Working in. I love it when they're fluffy. So super cute and fluffy. Yes. You got this. You can do this. I got you. Listen, you get stuck? Best advice, finish it. No matter how stuck you are, just push through like a power squad of art. Push through. Paint it again. The breakthrough will happen the second painting. It's kind of one of those weird, unfortunate truths of art. When you push through something, what you want to do is you want to complete a painting. Biggest obstacle to young kids developing their art skills is they start a drawing, see that it's wrong, crumple up the drawing, and throw it away. So they never get to make the connections that they need to make to grow those art skills. Same thing happens to grown-ups. So when you're stuck on a painting, don't be like, I don't know where it's going to go. Push through. Finish it. It is what it is. It doesn't matter. You're not turning it in. There's no grade. It is what it is. And then, if you really wanted to do it again, and you'll see a breakthrough as you go. I'm just pulling this in here. Oh, more cad yellow. This crazy color. I think I want some up here. Certainly some around here. Some off here. Just pull it in. Just trust. That's my fur. I'm going to bring this, some of this, into this space because the faces are red, right? We don't want to lose that truth when we're trying to get our Mr. Fox in. Let's not lose the truth. We've got a red fox here we're trying to talk about. That's what we're doing. Okay, so I'm putting this red in. Let me work that. Okay, I'm gonna come over here and get that in here, and we're gonna work some rough down here. I still gotta. Here. Just putting this stuff where I feel like it needs to be. Alright, rinsing out the brush. Let's go down and work out the lower ruff a little bit. So I'm back into that beigey white that I made. I'm going to come in and I'm going to work this ruff down here. I'm going to recognize there's a wind blowing. You know, he's fluffier, so it's got to be closer to winter. So what's happening here? Working the fur around the muzzle. I'm letting the wind blow this fur. Listen, if you're not up for painting it and you want to get it, I'm going to post it on Etsy, okay? If you're not, I want you to try to paint it, but if you're not up for it, you're like, I just need this fox in my life, it's okay. You can have it, but you should paint it. You should paint it. These little hairs. Brush them. Directionality of the brush stroke matters. Now, get a little more white. A little more white, it's quite bright. So you're going to take some of this bright, bright white, right? So you're going to add some more layers to this fox. Light hairs coming off. And that's what's really special with this one. Light hairs coming off. Paint layers. Yes, varnish this when you're done, guys. Don't want to work this hard and have something happen to the painting. Just follow my varnish video. Go over to Mom's varnish video. You know, and check out the varnish videos we've got for you guys. That's what's for. Now I'm going to add another layer of light into my light rough. Okay, adding another layer of light into this light rough. That's what I'm doing. Keep looking for those spots. Keep looking for them. Where you need them, get them. Where you need them, go ahead and just get them. Just pulling these little hairs out, breaking up their patterns. Over here as well. Very, very light color. Come up with this, on this part of the muzzle, and just dust. Just dust. Just dust. I don't want to take out the darker color underneath, I just want to apply what's happening here. Just working it out. Okay. I want you to go over into your red. Get a little blue into it. Make an interesting little grayed out mix. It's still much lighter than the background. You can come in here. You're going to add some of these. Just a few, not too many hairs. Okay, that's what you're doing. Just a few, not too many. All right. Now you're going to get into your bird sienna, which is going to be quite powerful. So what we're about to do, be super, super cautious, super, super careful. We're going to come in and work this around the eyes. Here we go. Just going to breathe and let our internal creator, our internal visionary connect with everything that's got vision and become centered. Just relax into the hair. Just relaxing into the hair is what we're doing. Into the hair and some of this. Then we're going to come under here and we're going to add some of it where it goes. Red foxes need red hair, don't they? Red foxes need red hair. You have a red-haired fox, it needs to be a red-haired fox. Look at that. How's he doing? He's looking adorables. He's looking adorables. Now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to get a little of this dark gray that I've got going here and I'm going to blue it up a little bit. Along my muzzle, I'm going to create a little upward shading. I might even want it to be even bluer than what I've got right now. It's quite dark. To just pull this up, shape this up. Okay, here. Even under here. And I'm going to create a little shadow. And now, my darlings, we're going to switch out into more detail-oriented brushes. I'm going to get an almost 1/4 of an inch bright going. How are you holding on? You panicking? You doing okay? Everything all right? We're going to think about his nose a little bit, okay? Only a few places might we use black, all right? Believe it or not, a lot of people would think it's the nose, but it is not where we want to use it. The eyes is actually where we're going to be using it. We might use a teensy tiny bit on here. We're mostly going to try not to. I'm going to come up at the top. I'm going to work this very, very carefully. It's the top of his nose. A little highlight. And I'm going to say there's a little bit of one that comes down. Just dust, 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 dust. I think you can see this. Kind of open this up so I can take this to you a little closer. Do you see that right there? I'm going to just dust, 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 dust. Come underneath, create the nostril, little highlight, just a titch, and a small hint of one over here. That is what we're going to do. Now I'm going to get back into my dark, dark color. I'm going to clean up this reflection a little bit. See, that's where I'm trying to get. Trying to clean up that reflection. Clean it up, get it going. And this will be something that you'll have to work at. You'll have to adjust. Some shadows. That's what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to find the exact spot for your little highlights that will tell your nose story very carefully, and your shadows without actually painting this weird little nose that a lot of people won't be tempted to paint. See? And I'm going to come in and I'm going to get an even brighter highlight. This is crazy, I know. I'm going to come right at the top. Make a little thin line and then create another little highlight. And then pull in even another little highlight on that. And I'm going to want to work around his nose. So that this is cleaned up a little bit. Clean up around the nose. Alright. We're going to just use this little brush and clean up the space a little bit. And those little. So I'm going to come and get another little highlight for under. Quite bright. Even brighter than that. Right here. And look for a little way to say there's a hair up here. There we go. Let's go a furry lip. Got that going. Now I'm going to get my other brush back and I'm going to highlight this nose. So it's more foxy, and then we're going to do the eyes. We are going to do the eyes. Right here, I'm just going to bring that in. Look how foxy that is. Isn't he just foxy? He's just a foxy foxy. blend down on the nose a little bit. Like you do. Looking for holes. Looking for holes. Like you do. Look for holes. Find them, fill them. That's what I'm constantly looking for. Alright, so he's building up. Building up, building up, building up, building up. Now a couple of places, but not going crazy, I'm going to want to put a little bit of my Cad Red. I want to put it around here. I'm going to just dust it. This is just a thing I would do any painting I was working on. For sure. Just throughout. Now I'm going to work these eyes. And we're going to be primarily the up-close camera for this because this is going to be a little journey. It's going to be a little journey. So first thing I'm going to do is really work the outline of my eye. And I will even get into some black now to get my depths going. And I'm going to rest my hand. I'm going to plant this sucker. I'm going to start putting it in. So I'm going to be looking at this eye. Top of this. And comes around. It's very round. Very, very, very round. Darkening this one. You're getting this in. That's what I'm doing. Adding these dark ranges. I'm working a small brush that I have a lot of control over. And that's what I'm doing. Here I'm going to round out my eye. You may need to rework some of your fur around this to centralize these to make these work. Be ready to do that because that's a thing that can happen to you while you're doing this. It all comes together on these, especially in wildlife paintings, I think in the eyes. I think that's where a wildlife painting is made or broken. You see I'm defining those out right there. Now I'm going to come and I'm going to get my brown and a little black. I know. Brown and a little black. Do brown and a little blue too. Blue to that too. We're going to get a real thing going here. Now I'm going to start working these. Painting that in. Hopefully you can see that really. Oh gosh, looking good. So I didn't do the up close paint for the whole thing because I wanted you to be able to have this, and since I don't have a standing cameraman, this is the best way that I can think of to do that. This around. One of the things that's very important, I feel, is to make sure that the shadow of the eye is cast across the whole eye. So lids and lashes and things like that, they cast a shadow. And one of the things people make a mistake with is that they don't give the eye a shadow. Let's get some redder hair. we're gonna come up here, very carefully, make a little bit of a lid. Look at us go. Doesn't take a huge value change to sit there and say there's this lid happening above. I want to make sure I have it. I need this, I'll get this. Whatever I need to get it, I will just go for it. I'm just going to be absolutely dogged about it. Another place I might need some highlight is right here. Put a little highlight right there. These things are important. They may be subtle, they may be hard to see. When you're taking in the value, and I'm going to trim this down a little bit. When you're taking in the value of something, it's going to matter what you're doing, trust me. So I've got that. Now I'm going to get just my red. My brush is still a little bit dirty, but I'm going to do an interesting thing. I come in here. I'm going to paint half of this with this darker sienna. Just half, not the whole thing. Alright, see how that's coming in? Now I will bother at this point to get some black because I need to know where something is. I need to know where my pupils are. So in the center of each of these eyes, I'm going to define a cat's eye shaped pupil, which tends to be a little bit long. And that's a very distinctive feature of the fox. It's one you really have to get if you want to feel that wild eye. I think that you do. And hey guys, I'm sure it's smarter just to do an eye tutorial or just, break these out and then charge for some of them and stuff like that. But I want you to be able to really have it. I'm going to get some just black and I'm going to do something here. I'm going to come in my lid right here. And that's why I don't use it everywhere because I want it to be really where it is when I put it in. Okay, I'm going to send out my brush, get some more around the outer edge of this. Very carefully add some of this, very carefully. This is about going slow, rest in your hand, knowing where you're at. Just making these adjustments as you need to. Okay, so I've got that in. Now I'm going to come and get some yellow ochre. And I'm going to start working these bright. I'm going to make some red here. And that yellow ochre. And I may have to come back with some of my orange that I made earlier for the fur. So I'm going to come right here. Right here, around this. There he is, he's coming in. I'm gonna come get some of that orange that I made for the fur earlier. I'm going to get some of my yellow, some of my cad red. Glompy, glompy. Glompy, glompy, stompy, stompy. Doesn't matter because I need it. Get what you need. Roll it off the brush if you need to. And I'm going to come in and work a little of that into the eye. A fleck. Little fire, little wild wood. I cannot be tamed. Even if I seem like I'm your foxy friend, I cannot be tamed. Come back in and get some of your sienna. Mom again. We cannot break right now. We don't have to start our layers. So we're just making sure that we have this sort of layering and feeling, and you go back with these colors where you need to. Come back in with this color, make sure that this is very layered on the outside. So that's what we have got to do. Be sure this is very, very layered. Full hat trick, my friends. Full hat trick. Alright, so we've got that there. Coming back, just making sure eye adjustments are just really on. Shade where you gotta shade. Shade where you gotta shade. Now, when you have that in, you can come over and you're gonna get some grade. You don't want some straight white, that's a mistake. You want some grayed out white. Okay? And you're gonna make some very important and critical highlights. You want them. Don't skip them. Then, I'm gonna get a detail brush. You have to put out fresh white for this, do it. Get some white. You get a little grayed out, roll your brush. Guys, we're nearly done. So get excited because you're about to have like blown your own mind. And just as carefully as you've ever done anything in your life, add this little highlight here. Alright, I get the privilege of showing you how I would erase a mistake. I get a little bit of water, come in here. It's a very gentle process because I don't want to gray this all out. I'm going to let that dry for a second, otherwise it would bleed, and I'm going to come try the other side. And that's what I mean, as carefully as you can be. See, it even happens to me. Alright, so I'm going to work this side though. I'm going to make a little highlight down here at the corner. I'm going to come in and make a very important highlight on the inside here. Okay? And very carefully, very lightly, on the eye. Add this little highlight. Okay, we're ready to come back over here. I find that sometimes the best way to make a very detailed line or reflection is to not make a solid line. And that, my friends, just get that little one right there, because there's always this little amount. I just want to do. All right. What did the fox say? Whoa! You painted a fox! I know it was long. I know it was harder than usual, but I hope you hung in. I hope you did it. This will be on Pinterest, the traceable, if you want to just I don't draw, but I'm going to try to paint it. I post this painting on Etsy, just in case you're like, oh, I just love this shirt so much, I have to have that in my life, which would be totally okay, I completely accept that. But I really want you to paint this for yourself. I don't, just so you know, do whiskers. You're welcome to do it. I personally find that sometimes they look a little on a painting. You can choose to put some black whiskers here if you like. I will show you how to do, here's what I'm going to do, because we've just been here so long. I'm going to show you how to do the whiskers real quick if you're going to do them, and then we'll say we're totally done. I don't know, edit this differently. Foxes have these weird black whiskers if you want to have them. Again, this is a super detailed brush. And some people really just because they'll really, really love foxes, want them. Just get those in real fast. So the trick to this is one, not letting your brush get overworked. I may even put out a fresh black. You may want to put out fresh paint for something like this. Get an even higher detail brush, pen, something like that. But if you just want that highly detailed sort of whisker thing, you may want it. I don't want to deprive you of it. Some of them will come from the light, and I really feel like less is more. Sometimes they can have whiskers out of here. Just don't draw it. Just imply that there's whiskers. Just trust me on this one. And some of them are so light you can barely see them. Some of them are thicker, and so you want to just be kind of mellow about it. And I find this is like, it's very important to just be cautious about adding elements like that. Just do them as a very soft added element, in my opinion. I wouldn't want you not to know how to get them in there. You can also do them off of the dark color that we make with the, if you don't want just the straight black, you just want to get them in there and be like, oh, I like this. And that can be very nice too, if you don't go for the straight black. So if you would take the straight black out of this situation, I actually think that might look nicer. Personal opinion. These are little adjustments I want you to internally within yourself make. Like if you're like, I think I'm done, and then you gotta go back and be like, I think I'm gonna add some whiskers. Add them. And then wherever you feel you've got to knock them back, and here's a little trick, because this is what will happen to people when they do whiskers, is come in with a grayed out highlight, and then you got to be just like the eyes up here. You got to be light as all get out. Grayed out highlight on the whisker. Just trust me on this. It'll just tame it. So, just in case you didn't know, that's how you get a whisker in and then tame the whisker. People will be like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? Yeah, just naturally awesome that way. It's just how I am. I'm just so cool. But it's just an important skill in wildlife painting to be able to get that in, and I might put in a few grayed out ones that are coming over. And then I'm going to say we're done. So this is just one of those weird episodes. See where we do the multi-tonal whiskers here? It's a crazy thing. So if you're not feeling confident and ready for that, don't do them. Okay? If you are, go ahead and add them, but that's how you would do that. That's that skill. Did you love learning how to do the eyes? And we'll do some more like this. On occasion, we will throw up a more challenging, more intensive painting tutorial. I want you to have a beautiful week. I want you to treat yourself like you're deserving and worthwhile and good and valuable, because you are. Thank you for sharing your painting stories with me. Thank you for sharing your paintings with me. I love you very much. I just want to have just wonderful things in your life. I'm going to see you at these real soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.